Hello, I'm Edward, your host. Welcome to the English Academy. I bet after this video you will be able to converse in English. Let's get started. 1. Going to the post office. Today, Mia had to send a birthday gift to her cousin who lives in another city. She walked into the post office carrying a small, neatly wrapped box. The place was a bit busy, with people standing in line holding envelopes, packages, and forms. Mia took a number and waited patiently, looking around at the posters on the walls about delivery times and services. She double-checked the address on the box and made sure the tape was secure. After a few minutes, it was her turn. The clerk smiled and asked how she could help. Mia explained that she needed to send the gift quickly, so the clerk suggested express shipping. He weighed the package, typed in the address, and gave Mia the price. She paid with her card and got a tracking number. He told her it should arrive in 2 days. Mia thanked him and left the post office feeling relieved. She was happy knowing her cousin would get the gift on time. 2. Getting a haircut. Jason looked in the mirror and decided it was finally time for a haircut. His hair had grown too long and was starting to get in his eyes. So, on Saturday afternoon, he walked to his favorite barbershop downtown. It was a small place with big windows, a row of chairs, and the familiar buzzing sound of clippers. The barber greeted him with a smile and asked if he wanted the usual. Jason nodded, sat down, and took off his jacket. As the barber worked, they chatted about the weather, sports, and upcoming holidays. Jason liked how the barber always remembered their last conversation. The haircut took about 20 minutes, and when it was done, Jason looked much neater. The barber brushed off the hair from his neck and showed him the back with a small mirror. Jason was happy with the result and gave a tip before leaving. The cool air hit his neck, and he smiled, feeling fresh and ready for the week. 3. Shopping for clothes. Emma needed a new jacket because the weather was getting colder. She went to the mall after work, hoping to find something warm but also stylish. She visited a few stores, trying on different styles. Some were too big, others too expensive. Finally, she found a dark green jacket that fit just right. It had a soft lining and big pockets, perfect for winter walks. She took it to the mirror and turned side to side, checking how it looked from every angle. A sales assistant came by and complimented her choice, saying it was a popular item. Emma smiled and decided to buy it. At the counter, she asked if there were any discounts, and luckily, the jacket was on sale. She paid and left the store feeling pleased with her purchase. As she walked through the mall, she thought about how the new jacket would go well with her favorite scarf. Shopping had taken longer than she planned, but it was worth it in the end. 4. Going to the doctor. Ben hadn't been feeling well for a few days. He had a sore throat, a slight fever, and felt very tired. So, he made an appointment to see his doctor. The clinic was not far from his home, and he arrived 10 minutes early. He checked in at the front desk and sat down with a magazine while he waited. Soon, the nurse called his name and took his temperature and blood pressure before leading him to the exam room. The doctor came in and asked Ben about his symptoms. After a quick checkup, the doctor said it was likely a viral infection and recommended rest, fluids, and some medicine to help with the symptoms. Ben felt relieved that it wasn't anything serious. The doctor gave him a note for work and a prescription. Ben thanked her and walked to the pharmacy next door to get his medicine. He felt a little better, knowing he had a plan to recover soon. 5. Meeting a friend at a cafe. Lena and her friend Rachel hadn't seen each other in months, so they decided to catch up at a cozy cafe downtown. They picked a table by the window, ordered coffee and pastries, and started chatting right away. The cafe had a warm atmosphere, with soft music and the smell of fresh bread. Rachel talked about her new job, and Lena shared news about her recent trip to the mountains. They laughed a lot and even looked through photos on their phones. The time passed quickly as they talked about old memories and future plans. After nearly 2 hours, they realized how long they'd been sitting there. They each paid for their drinks and promised not to wait so long before meeting again. Outside, they hugged and said goodbye. The afternoon sun was shining, and Lena walked home smiling. She felt thankful for good coffee, good conversation, and the kind of friendship that always picks up right where it left off. 6. Returning an item to a store. Last week, I bought a sweater from a clothing store downtown. When I got home and tried it on again, I realized it didn't fit as well as I had thought. The sleeves were too long, and it felt a little tight around the chest. I decided to return it the next day. I brought the receipt and the sweater, still in its original packaging, and went to the customer service desk. The woman at the counter smiled and asked how she could help me. I explained that I had bought the sweater the day before but it didn't fit well. She asked to see the receipt and then checked the tags to make sure everything was still attached. After a moment, she nodded and said the return was no problem. She asked if I wanted a refund or store credit. I chose a refund, and within a few minutes, the money was returned to my card. It was a simple and polite exchange, and I left feeling satisfied. 7. Asking for help at the library. I was looking for a book on cooking healthy meals but couldn't find it on the shelf where it was supposed to be. I checked the library's online catalog, and it said the book was available, but I still couldn't spot it. I walked over to the help desk, where a librarian was sitting quietly, typing on her computer. I politely said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for a book, but I can't find it. Could you help me?" The librarian looked up with a kind smile and asked for the title. I gave her the name, and she searched the system again to double check. She said it should be in the health and cooking section but might have been misfiled. She stood up and offered to walk with me to the shelves. After looking around for a couple of minutes, she found it on a lower shelf, just one row away. I thanked her for her help, and she said it's always okay to ask when something's hard to find. I appreciated her patience and friendly attitude. 8. Buying a train ticket. I needed to travel to the next city for a short visit and decided to take the train. I arrived at the station early to avoid any last-minute stress. At the ticket counter, there was a short line, so I waited my turn patiently. When it was my turn, I stepped up and greeted the clerk with a smile. I said, "Hi, I'd like to buy a ticket to Greenville for tomorrow morning, please." The clerk asked me if I wanted a one-way ticket or a round trip. I told her I would only need a one-way this time. She typed the details into her computer and asked if I wanted a seat by the window or the aisle. I said I preferred the window seat. After printing the ticket, she handed it to me and explained the departure time and platform number. I thanked her and asked if I needed to be there early. She recommended arriving at least 15 minutes before departure. Everything went smoothly, and I felt confident about my trip. Story 9. The broken phone. Jake's phone suddenly stopped working in the middle of the day. The screen went black, and no matter how many times he pressed the power button, nothing happened. At first, he thought it was just the battery, so he plugged it into the charger. But after 20 minutes, it still wouldn't turn on. He began to worry. He needed his phone for work, to stay in touch with family, and even to pay for things. He quickly grabbed his backpack and headed to the phone repair shop near his apartment. When he got to the shop, the technician asked, "What seems to be the problem?" Jake explained what had happened and handed over the phone. The technician took a quick look and said, "It might be the battery or the screen itself. Let me open it up and check." Jake waited nervously, hoping it wouldn't be too expensive. After a few minutes, the technician smiled. "Good news, it's just the battery. We can replace it today, and it'll be ready in an hour." Jake sighed in relief and thanked him, glad it wasn't something more serious. Story 10. At the ATM. Layla walked up to the ATM after work, planning to withdraw just enough cash for the weekend. She slid in her card, typed her PIN carefully, and selected the "Withdraw" option. But as soon as she pressed the button, the screen froze. She stared at it, confused. Then the screen went black for a second and showed an error message. Transaction failed. Please try again. She tried once more, but the same thing happened. She started to get a little frustrated. She stepped aside and looked around. A bank employee was nearby, so she waved him over. "Hi, I think the machine might be having a problem," she said. He nodded and said, "Yeah, we've been having some technical issues with that one. Would you like to try the ATM inside?" Layla thanked him and walked into the bank branch. The indoor machine worked perfectly, and she got her cash without trouble. On her way out, she laughed a little and thought, well, that was a small adventure. Story 11. Helping a tourist. Emily was walking through the park on her way to the grocery store when a woman approached her, looking a little lost. She held a map and was glancing around, clearly unsure of where she was. Excuse me, the woman said in a light accent, can you help me find the museum? Emily smiled and said, sure, you're actually pretty close. Just go straight down this path, turn left at the big fountain, and you'll see the museum right across the street. The woman looked relieved and thanked her warmly. As they walked together for a few minutes, the woman explained she was visiting from Spain and had never been to this city before. Emily gave her a few more tips, like where to grab a good coffee nearby and which street to avoid because of construction. They chatted casually until they reached the corner near the museum. Thank you so much, the tourist said with a big smile. You're very kind. Emily waved and said, enjoy your visit. It felt nice to help someone out, even just for a few minutes. Story 12. Asking for a refund. Tom had been looking forward to his new headphones arriving all week. When the package finally came, he opened it quickly and was excited to try them out. But as soon as he connected them to his phone, he noticed a problem. One side wasn't working at all. He tried restarting the phone, testing different apps, even using another device, but nothing fixed it. Frustrated, he decided to call the customer service number on the website where he ordered them. A friendly-sounding woman answered the phone and said, thanks for calling, how can I help you? Tom explained the situation and added that he had only received the headphones an hour ago. She apologized and asked a few questions to confirm his order. Then she said, we're really sorry about that. You can return them for a full refund or exchange them for a new pair. Tom chose the refund. She emailed him a return label and said he could drop it off at any post office. It wasn't the experience he had hoped for, but at least it was easy to fix. Story 13. At the laundromat. Lena's washing machine had broken down, so she had to do her laundry at the laundromat down the street. She loaded up 2 big bags of clothes and carried them over on a Sunday afternoon. When she got there, most of the machines were full, and a few people were sitting on the benches, waiting. She found one available washer, loaded her clothes in, added detergent, and swiped her laundry card. The machine started, and she sat down with a book while she waited. A few minutes later, an older man sat next to her and smiled. Busy day, huh? He said. Lena nodded and replied, yeah, I guess everyone had the same idea. They talked casually while the machines ran, about the weather, the neighborhood, and the best time to come when it's not so crowded. When her wash finished, she moved her clothes to a dryer and started folding what was already done. It wasn't her favorite chore, but chatting with someone friendly made it feel a bit more pleasant. Story